All right, welcome to part 2 of Let's Get Dehydrated. So the roasted garlic powder obviously worked out amazing. I ended up using it and I loved it. I put it in my turkey bolognese and it was excellent. But now it's time for steak. So I wrote down here that I started it on 12/11 at 6:30. So at 12/12 it was 24 hours, and then on 12/13 it was 48 hours, and now it's today and it is 12:30 in the afternoon. So that makes, I'm really bad at math, and then it's another 18 hours. So I actually have to do it. 66 hours, Jesus. I let this marinate for 66 hours. Let's get this guy out of this pot. Let's just get started. So I already set up and lined a sheet pan with parchment paper and paper towels. Use whatever you have in the house. You don't have to go out and buy things. Use what you have. So I find, oh, it smells really good. It looks good, actually. It looks really good. So I'm looking at this marinade. It's kind of wet. I'll come over to you guys and show you what I mean. There's a lot of liquid in there. So I'm gonna strain it in a colander first. Okay. So I took all that excess liquid out and now it's just the steak. The steak is still a little wet, which is what the paper towels are for. So like I said with the roasted garlic, I was like trying to dry it to the best of my ability. Same thing goes for the steak or anything that's gonna go in the dehydrator, because the more wet something is, the longer it's gonna take in the dehydrator. And you're making the dehydrator work harder, you know? All right, so that's it. All I have left is the ginger and the scallion that I used to help marinate the steak. The steak smells phenomenal. So I'm gonna grab another layer of paper towels now and press into it and try to get it really, really dry. So I'm pressing down as much as I can. I wanna get it dry before it goes in the dehydrator. So now that we know how the dehydrator works, I'm open to try more things to put in the dehydrator. So with the steak, I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the garlic. I'm not gonna stack them, I'm not gonna crowd them. I'm just gonna put them, place them in the tray so that they all have a little space for the air to move around. And then I think I'm gonna put the dehydrator at around 150, 160 again. And I'm gonna let it run for 6 hours. I put as much steak as would fit in the basket. This is what's left. I'll do this after. Like I said, I'm gonna throw it in the Instant Pot for at least 6 hours at 150 to 160 degrees and see what happens, and we'll come back in 6 hours. It has been 6 hours since I put the beef jerky in the dehydrator. I added another 2 hours and then I'm gonna take a look. It's actually looking really good. I guess because I cut it so thin, it's dehydrating really well. The house smells amazing. The roasted garlic smell is gone and now it smells like beef. And next, the house is gonna smell like oranges. So I used to do candied pineapple for a menu item I had at a restaurant. And what I used to do is I used to make a very thick simple syrup and then kind of keep them in that simple syrup for a couple of hours and then put them in the dehydrator. So simple syrup is just equal parts sugar and water. For this, I didn't do equal parts. I did 1.5 parts sugar to water. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice these and then I'm gonna put them in a glass, a shallow glass, so that they can all be covered completely by the simple syrup that I made. So I'm gonna switch over to this camera, so excuse me. Just take one off the cutting board. I'm gonna cut the ends off. I'm using a serrated knife because I feel like I have more control with a serrated knife when I'm slicing an orange, okay? So I'm not gonna cut them too thin. About that consistency is fine. Do your best to make them the same size. That way they can dehydrate evenly. Okay, so I sliced my oranges as thin as I could, and I layered them in this pie shell here. And now I'm gonna cover them in the simple syrup that I made. So the simple syrup that I made has color. It looks like a caramel color. It's not that I overcooked it or anything. I have organic sugar. You don't have to use organic sugar. I buy organic sugar because I'm annoying, but you can use granulated sugar, and that's really what you should be using, is some form of granulated sugar, and that's what this is. This is just organic granulated sugar. So I'm gonna pour it over my oranges very carefully, not getting it anywhere else or on my table because this stuff is so sticky. Okay, and they're gonna kind of float a little bit, and that's okay. All right, and there you go. So the reason the simple syrup is hot is because it'll work faster while it's hot than it is if I were to put these in like cold simple syrup and put them in the fridge. It would probably take a couple of days. Whereas this hot sugar, it could probably take 8 hours sitting out, and then I'll be able to dehydrate it. So the beef jerky, I think, has at least another 3 hours to go, like total, from the way that it looks right now. So I'm gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna forget about it for a little while. Once it's cooled down enough where I can wrap it, I'll wrap it. I'm still gonna leave it out for at least the 8 hours, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it has been 7 hours since I put the beef jerky in, and when I checked it this very last time, I was like, oh my God, it's done already. I guess because I sliced it so thin, it didn't need a lot of time in the dehydrator. So I put the other half of the steak in the dehydrator for 7 hours now that I know that's what it needed. So here it is. Let me show it to you on my other camera. Okay, so there's little pieces from the sweet chili sauce. So it's got that nice sweetness. The soy sauce definitely took a turn with flavor. So if you snap it, it's just a little chewy still, which is what I wanted. I wanted like that really soft beef jerky. I'm gonna tell you, it has such a good flavor. I'm really happy that I went with soy sauce instead of doing salt, because the soy sauce, you know, yes, it's high in sodium, so it acted as my salt, but it also had its own flavor. So it like enhanced the beef jerky. It is so good. This plate isn't gonna make it past today. So I'm gonna put the jerky that I have, you can hear it, you hear it? It's pretty crispy. It's crispy, but it's a little chewy on the inside, which, like I said, is what I was going for anyway. So I'm gonna take this beef jerky, I'm gonna put it in my jar with my airtight jar, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna wait for the rest of the beef jerky to come out of the dehydrator, and then I'll add it to this jar, and then I'll make it airtight. And this can hold for maybe 2 weeks, I wanna say, as long as it's, you know, shelf stable. Like if I have the airtight lid, I think it could do 2 weeks. If you decide to make beef jerky just a little more on the soft side, like with still some moisture, I would put it in the refrigerator and let it hang out in the refrigerator. And in the refrigerator, it would last so much longer than it would on the shelf. So we'll come back in 7 hours. All right, it has been another 7 hours, and the beef jerky that was left over that needed to be dehydrated went into the dehydrator for 7 hours, and we ate a lot of it. This is all that's left. But now it's time for oranges. So I have some plates here, and once again, I have paper towels. And I'm gonna try to drain these to the best of my ability. And then I'm gonna dry them. And then I'm gonna coat them in sugar, like regular fresh sugar. And then they're gonna go in the dehydrator. So I have culinary tweezers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shake these out like this. So I'm gonna start this at 110 degrees, and we'll do 6 hours, and I'll be checking routinely. Orange. Orange. What do you think? Is it good or no? Our taste tester just ran off. She definitely approves of candied oranges. So I had these guys in the dehydrator for 26 hours. They came out pretty cool. I like the way they look. I'm gonna come close to the camera. I wanna show you guys like how cool this is. They look just like what I would buy if I went to like Fairway or like a natural food store where they have like their own natural dried candy. I thought that was pretty cool. You see, you still got all the little crystals from the sugar, and you have that really nice crystallization all over the orange slice. So let me try it. Wow, it's really good. It's like when you buy the candied orange slices, but natural. The rind tastes so good. I love that the sugar ate away at the rind, taking out all that bitterness, and now all that's left is this very sweet, citrus, almost candy. Or is a candy, I don't know. But I really like it. I was just waiting for them to cool down so that I could store them properly. But that's really it. So that was dehydrating. We made garlic powder, roasted garlic powder. We made beef jerky and candied oranges. You want another one? Mas? It was good, huh? I look forward to seeing what else I'm gonna put in dehydrator, or different flavored beef jerky and all the different fruit candy that I'm gonna try to make. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. The only thing I will say is that it is small. So if you have like a bigger family, it's not gonna feed everybody in one batch. You know, you're gonna have to do it in batches if you're gonna do bulk dehydrating. And you know, this for example took 26 hours. It's a day. To make 26 hours and to make this amount, for me this is maybe 2 portions if I'm generous with me and my husband. So it's great. I'm not saying that I don't approve of the Instant Pot dehydrator. I definitely do. I just think that I'm a young family. There's only 3 of us, and one of us is under 2 years old still. So it's not the same as a family of 5 to get the dehydrator the size that I got it. I'm really happy with the way everything came out. I am new to YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you really do like my videos, there's a lot more on Instagram, and I'll put my link below. If you guys want to see something or want to know how something works and it has to do with food, ask me, and if I can answer you, I will.